This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details. And boom!
Common man, no show prep, no solid plan. Spins a yarn, begins a tale. The esoteric approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common man, charms the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello.
Oh my gosh, above average.
Little Cubbies versus Little Tigers, bottom of the third inning. Little Johnny up to bat. Little Billy, the pretend pitcher for the Little Cubbies. Little Billy pretends to pitch. Little Johnny swings, and it's a dribbler to second base, and it goes by Little Aaron through to the gap. All 9 Little Cubbies chasing after it. The right fielder, Little Danny, laying on the ground, playing with dandelions. He won't get there. Maybe the right center fielder, Little Kenny, will. No, it goes by Little Kenny, too. All the Little Tigers will score, except Little Johnny. Little Johnny is running the wrong way. The man that hit the dribbler to the gap is going the wrong way. He's rounding second, but in the opposite direction. Pandemonium here on field number 3.
Upset alert.
Time is running out on Dan Cole's round. Let's go to 15. Bob?
Yeah, John Cole has been visibly angry. He's been talking to himself quite a bit. And it doesn't get any easier here on the par 3 15th hole at Minnesota National. This hole is guarded by 2 bunkers with a big tree in front of the green. Very challenging tee shot. He's opted to hit a 5-iron here. Cole, unreal pants, fluttering in the wind, mumbling to himself, I've got to have this shot. Hooty-hoo! Ooh, that's very well struck. Spinning through the air like a J.J. McCarthy pass. It's right on line. Looking good. Oh, my! It's in! I can't believe what I just saw. A hole-in-one for Cole at the 15th, and he's pointing at patrons in the gallery shouting, you doubted me, you doubted me, you doubted me, and now he's embracing his son, Peter. What a moment between father and son here at the 15th at Minnesota National.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the 4th in the North.
No,
this is the common man, Dan Cole.
Close. That would be me. Cold, dead, rigor mortis, laden lips will be attached to. It's not a Neumann BCM 104 anymore. It's some kind of Electrolux EV 27 or something. I can never remember. It's a hell of a lot of people like it as a broadcast microphone, but I actually preferred the Neumann BCM 104. Hey, I'm here until 3 o'clock. Tenneby still out. No Max today. It's none other than Brett Blakemore. And Brett, there are so many things to get to today. Gophers have a brand new head basketball coach. And if it wouldn't have been for a missed traveling call, he might not be the Minnesota men's basketball coach right now. But apparently Nico Medved will step in. Twins lose another player to injury to start the season. They already lost Royce Lewis. He'll start on the IR this season with an injury. And now, who's the other kid? What's his name again?
What's his name?
Yeah, what's his name? Brooks Lee. Brooks Lee looks like he's going to be out for a little bit. Apparently, we have the best bullpen in the history of the of Major League Baseball, though I'm going to try to throw a wet blanket on that as well. Controversial Vikings news to get to. Big George Foreman May he rest in peace. He takes the 10 count for the final time. With so many topics to get to, I don't know where to begin, so what should we do?
Man, the Foreman news is pretty big.
It is.
I think it goes.
Commons Golf Game.
Oh.
What did you shoot today?
Well, it was actually yesterday. Which 91? I played 20. I walked 27 holes of golf.
Walked 27.
Yeah, it was 40 degrees, and then real feel with the wind was like 34 degrees.
What did you shoot today?
I shot 43, 41, 41.
Where'd we play?
Oak Marsh.
Where'd you hit it on? One.
Right up the gut.
How far from the green was it?
Well, it was a par 5, so I had a long way to go.
Second shot?
Hit a decent rescue club.
Right or left?
Hit it a little bit right.
How far from the green was it?
I had 7 irons, so I suppose to the pin I was 135 into the wind.
Then what?
I hit it okay, got to the front of the green.
Then what?
3-putted.
I wasn't. Well, there's that.
Yeah, there was that. I just did not play well at all. I mean, I went back let's see, 43, 41, 82, 92, 102, 112. How many shots is that? Of those swings, 120 swings or whatever.
Yeah.
6 of them were good. The rest were just awful. Yeah. I didn't, after bragging about what a great putter I am,
The long takeaway?
Well, no, have you heard?
No.
I was nominated for a PST. I said I putt better than 50% of the people on tour. Then Lavelle nominated me for PST, and I said, you're right, that was preposterous. I'm better than 60%. I really am. You wouldn't play enough golf to know. Putting is just it's all in your head. Just because a guy's on the Pro Tour doesn't necessarily mean he's a better putter than any amateur that plays. They're all better, all the other phases of the game. Their short game is better, their sand game is better, they hit it further and straighter on their drives, their iron play is better, all of those. That doesn't mean it's a putter. You read the green, you get the pace down, you hit the putt, it goes in or it doesn't. And I started thinking, even though I 3-putted the first hole, on the second hole I hit a 45-footer for par. I'm just thinking I'm just so good. But the putter was okay. My wedge play is just a disaster right now. And it's not chip yips like I've suffered in the past. I just haven't played enough. I got to get out there.
It's early.
So I won't be able to play probably until Thursday because of frost. I have to play in the morning, right? Mm-hmm. And there'll be frost every morning. By the time the frost lifts, I'll have to get to work. So I'm going to go in the backyard today, tomorrow, and Friday, or today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, and just hit chips in the backyard. Just get used to that nice, just releasing the club and hitting nice, high little pitch shots, chip shots. Get that. I'm hitting the driver really well early, and I don't even have the new 440 yet either, which is coming soon. You've got the 440, right?
I've got a 440.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. You got a 440 driver?
It's a 7-wood. But yeah, that's the trendy, club.
Yeah. All right, let me ask you this. Are you comfortable hitting it farther and straighter?
I think so.
I figured you would be. Yeah, you and I will be.
What'd you hit for your second shot at 18?
I had to hit a hybrid because I was in the fairway bunker. At Oak Marsh, have you played Oak Marsh?
I haven't.
The 18 is a really cool hole. It's a forced carry, and then there's a great, big, huge bunker that splits the fairways. There's fairway right, fairway left. Also, once on the left fairway, if you go too far, there's the first cut, then there's the rough, and then there's a pond on that side that wraps up around by the green. It's a really difficult hole. And so I couldn't get there from that bunker into the wind. There was no way, but I hit a really nice shot up close. But I wasn't real. Here's what I was. I was in the landing area, the run-up area, right, to get to it. I had like 25 to 30 feet of apron, like fringe.
Yeah.
And I decided to putt instead of chip because I was chipping so bad. I didn't hit a half bad putt either, but I still made bogey. But yeah, so it was good to get out. It'll be a while again. It's the most wonderful time of the year, as we know. And as we like to say,
ladies and gentlemen,
Nico Medved.
We got him.
I don't know if the university has issued a formal statement yet. As of just before noon, they had not that I'm aware of. But sources all across here in the Twin Cities and across the country are reporting that the Minnesota Golden Gophers have filled their men's basketball head coaching vacancy by signing Minnesota native Nico Medved. Nico, I'm told, graduated from Roseville, went to the University of Minnesota, and then he went town to town, up and down the dial. Coached Drake. He coached Drake and somewhere else before getting to Colorado State. He's had quite a bit of success at Colorado State, from what I understand. He's gotten them to the NCAA tournament. I think, what is it, last 3 years? Two of the last 3 years. They actually won a game. I don't think Colorado State's won a first-round game in forever. And they got out of the first. I think what I heard last night was they haven't been out of the first round since unless I'm confusing it with another team. Because, you watch enough of those games and they start throwing out stats. Mm-hmm. At least for me, they all kind of run together. But I thought I saw where CSU hadn't been to the Sweet 16 since 1969. And that was so long ago. That was when the tournament was just 32 teams. So you only had to win one game to get to the Sweet 16, and that's what they did. And apparently he's a hell of a coach. Everybody loves him. I mean, he's had a lot of success there at Colorado State. I was prepared today to throw a wet blanket on the Nico Medved rumors of coming to Minnesota. I was going to say, folks, his star is rising, right? And it's like he's going to be like the Rhinestone Cowboy, a song by Glenn Campbell. Do you know who Glenn Campbell is?
I've heard the name.
Glenn Campbell did a song called Rhinestone Cowboy. Like a rhinestone cowboy. And part of it was about being a star. And he says, getting cards and letters from people he doesn't even know and offers coming over the phone. And that's what Nico Medved was going to get after taking Colorado, especially if they had hung on to beat Maryland. If it wasn't for a non-travel call, they would advance to the Sweets. And then how about if that happens? Because according to Coyle, not Hoyle. Do you know what according to Hoyle is? Hoyle they make playing cards, and they also have the rules to poker, according to Hoyle. And I used to love, I forgot to tell Tenneby this playing card, because Tenneby and Cove think they're great poker players. Mm-hmm. Right? And I used to, when I would play cards, one of the lines I would always use, I'm staring at my cards, and they're asking me, like, all of a sudden, someone will raise, it will come around to me. And I'd stare at my cards for a second, and I'd go, I wonder what Hoyle would do. It's a great line. It really is. A lot of people liked it. And what were we talking about?
Rhinestone Cowboy.
Oh, so you know that Medved's getting cards and letters from people he doesn't even know and offers coming over the phone, or would have. But I guess coming back home, they say you can never go home again. I don't remember where that old saying's from. Obviously you can. So he wanted the job. He's got the job. I don't know if anybody watched any of that game. I thought it was Temple playing. You familiar with Temple and what they do with that? Or not Temple, I mean Princeton. Princeton, that Princeton offense that's so famous. He basically runs a version of the Princeton offense. I'll break it down for you a little bit on the other side for you non-basketball people. I always get this. There's this belief that I don't understand, because I use the esoteric approach in analyzing sports for the most part. I think it's more effective than X's and O's, but I'll do a little X's and O's on the other side of the break. We have controversial Vikings news. I do want to talk about Big George Foreman. Thanks for doing a little work for me there.
Of course.
I actually asked you to do a little research for me and get some sound bites, so we're going to do that. So there's plenty. We'll talk some NCAA. By the way, in the KFAN brackets, I'm tied for fifth right now.
Whoa.
Objects in the mirror are closer than they appear. So we got plenty to get to today. We'll do it on the other side of the break. It's the Common Man Program with Brett Blakemore right here on The Fan.
Join the Power Trip Zach Halverson tonight at Rascals in Apple Valley for a Bud Light Wild Watch Party. Be there at 7 p.m. to watch your Wild in action and sign up for your chance to qualify for first-round playoff tickets this year. Full details, KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Couple 13-14 past. I'm Common. He's Brett Blakemore. No Mark Rosen today. I think most people have adjusted to Mark's schedule. Well, I know we've made all sorts of concessions to Mark. He's now Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays at 2 o'clock, so we will certainly welcome him back with open arms tomorrow. Brett in today. I'm not sure about tomorrow. I know it was actually, I think it was supposed to be Meatsauce, and there was a lot of confusion. It's a good thing I checked because no one was going to be in that chair had I not checked with the program director. And I took Chad under my wing a little bit because I've programmed a lot of radio stations over the years. I've programmed 3 radio stations, but 5 sounds like more than 4. And I said, you got to kind of, one of the things you got to want to make, I took him under my wing. You know, saying, this isn't, I'm not admonishing you. I'm not scolding you. I'm not berating you. I'm just saying, I want to make sure the producer, when the interim / bridge producer's on vacation for a week and a half, you might want to make sure that chair, somebody's in that chair and is going to stay in that chair for the 8 days he's gone, right? And apparently that wasn't the case today. There was a mix-up there.
We made it one day.
Yeah, we made it one day. And so you came back on emergency work, and you look tired because you put in a lot of hours at this place.
I'll survive.
You're an unsung hero.
Oh, thank you.
So then when I was told because I said to Max, I said, hey, can you do this for me? He goes, I'm out today. You got Brett. So then I text you, hey, can you do this today? You go, I'm not in today, man. I think you got Maxo. No! And so then I contacted, and if I didn't check, there'd have been nobody in that chair today.
Well, it's a testament to you for staying on top of things.
That's what
exactly.
And and I get the bad rap that I don't do that. It's all just about me. That's it's a faith, family, fairways, friends, then frequency, right? Which is true. My job doesn't not only take a back seat, it takes a rumble seat to this job. Half second. Do you know what a rumble seat is?
A rumble seat.
Let's get No, I can't say that. Be careful. Did you notice I stopped? Do me a favor and look up rumble seat.
Rumble seat.
Yeah. Rumble seat.
So like one of those seats that massages you?
No, it's back in the it's when the horseless carriage, shortly after the horseless carriage became in vogue, when people started saying, it's, horse is a horse, of course, but I'd rather have. Oh. So what does it say about a rumble seat? Because I bet a lot of the youngsters don't know what a rumble seat is.
So a rumble seat, also called a mother-in-law seat, is an upholstered exterior front-facing seat, which is folded into the rear of the coach, carriage, or early motor car. Yeah. So it looks like it's a seat that you're basically in the trunk.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. It's called. So in other words, it's not in the front seat, back seat. It's in the rumble seat. Why was I even bringing up that analogy? What was that about? What was I talking about?
Because you take your job seriously. You're on top of the show.
Yeah, so I know that it's fifth. It's like it's not only in does my job take a back seat? It sits in the actual rumble seat is what it sits in. But Peek at the Purple, brought to you by Affordable Electric. Affordable Electric, they're your old home specialist. And right now, if you're a journeyman electrician and looking for a great opportunity, Affordable Electric wants you. Competitive wages for a full-time job. They provide health insurance, a simple plan with a 3% match from Affordable, a work truck, bonuses, and the ability to earn commissions. How much better are those benefits to work for Affordable Electric than it is for you to work at the Fan?
No, everything's great.
It's really great here. You love all the extra. The one thing is you get to pal around with me once in a while. That's a nice bonus, isn't it? When you think about it,
it's a nice perk.
It's a nice perk to have.
And the text you get in the summertime every once in a while is good too. That's the real perk. That's what I was referring to.
Yeah. When I'll text you and say, Prestwick ... this afternoon, 4:00 ... Are you in ... question mark, and you go, I'm in, and then
the best.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that. The Vikings still don't have a backup quarterback, do we? I mean, we have the kid that's what's his name? The only one that we have left.
Well, there's JJ.
Yeah, well, he's the starter.
And then Brett Rippon.
Brett Rippon.
Yeah.
Let's start Rippon. No, I don't mean let's start him at quarterback. Let's just start ripping him is what I mean. No, I just don't think, the Vikings are going to go into the season with him, are they? I mean, because I think we all agree this team should be very competitive. They were 14-3. If the quarterback plays as well, whoever that quarterback is, and it looks like it would be McCarthy, if he plays as well as Darnold did, we should be in the mix, right? I mean, hell, we were 14-3 last year. We had, I think most people that follow the Vikings would agree, including the guys that run TCO Performance Center. They thought we needed help in the inside of the offensive line and help in the inside of the defensive line, and they went out and they signed a whole bunch of free agents to the tune of some really big money. So. And McCarthy's the guy, and I'm expecting him to play well. I mean, I think he's got a bright future. But let's say he gets hurt, and you feel like you're a team that's going to compete for a division title, and who knows, maybe win a game or two and make a postseason run. You're probably not going to do it with Brett Rippon. Maybe you will. I'm not trying to rip Rippon because I don't know much about him, but my guess is he wouldn't be the guy. So you're going to want somebody that at least you feel like gives you a better chance than what you had with, who was Pasternaut again? What was his name? Remember Pasternaut guy?
Josh Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs and this and that and that. And I don't know who the Vikings are planning to get. Though the sources that I'm talking to think it's Ryan Tannehill has been a name that's been bounced around and he is still available. And then there's somebody that is speculating the Vikings might actually trade for a backup quarterback. And the name I'm hearing is Will Levis from the Tennessee Titans. Because I think Tennessee wants to move on from Will. Now, he's relatively young, right? Was he one of those guys that was a first-round draft pick, I'm assuming?
I thought that was his first year starting last year.
Was it his first year starting? But will you Google Will Levis and kind of give me a who, what, why, where, and when? I'm pretty sure he's very young, and I think he was one of those. Yeah, he's like a Mac Jones in that, drafted in the first round, think he might have a chance to be, a franchise top quarterback, but you're never really sure, right? One of those guys. Mm-hmm. You have those guys that are drafted like your guys that are drafted number 1, number 2, or number 3 overall, just like we had last year. Everybody's figuring that the kid for the Bears, the Jaden Daniels character, the Knicks and the Penix, and all these guys are going to be franchise quarterbacks. And I don't know if Levis was in that group or not. What does it say about Will?
Time is moving scarily fast because he started 9 games in 23, and then started 12 in 2024.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was highly touted, even though he put mayo in his coffee.
Mixed results from his wins and losses would be my assumption. Where was he drafted overall? Does it say anything there?
He was drafted, I have it right here. He was in the second round, the 33rd pick.
Yeah. So then he was never considered like a can't miss kind of a thing. It's almost an afterthought.
I mean, he was in the class, but
he's in the class, and so he's there. So, I know in talking to people and reading things and seeing text messages and such like that and emails, there are people that are concerned about the backup quarterback position. But let's face it, almost every one of there's 32 teams in the National Football League, and almost every one of them doesn't have a backup quarterback. You'd go, boy, I'm sure glad we got him. He's going to be really good. There's not a lot of those guys out there, right? I mean, it's basically you have your starter, and then if you have to go to your backup quarterback, you're just crossing your fingers and just hoping you can get through the season, right? So, but it'll be interesting to see what the Vikings do. I got to think they will do something relatively soon. And when we find out, my guess is I'll hear from a listener, but when we do find out, I will let you know. Peek at the Purple brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. Affordable-electric.com. Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable. We'll break down some Nico Medved on the other side of the break. Common Man Program here on the Fan.
Join and Meatsauce. Meatsauce and Lucky and Miller Lite at the Lookout in Maple Grove this Thursday, 5 to 7. Stop by to register for a chance to win a spot in the Vikings Foundation Golf Tournament.
Whoa.
Full details now, KFAN.com, keyword golf.
Sauce was very good Friday. Now, we had a great crowd. I want to thank each and every person that came out to see the show on Friday at Bogart's Entertainment Center. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, I said I was going to thank each and every one of them. Thank you, and I have to get to almost 150 people. We had a huge crowd, yeah. Ticket sales were brisk late. I think it goes back to once the paint is dried, the socks have been sorted, and the asphalt's been delivered, people go, I guess I got nothing better to do. And so then they came out to the show. But Sauce was very good. Hard act to follow. But I was able to do it. I closed again. We've reversed roles now. I'm closing now. Well, wow. Well, Sauce is unpredictable. He's very unpredictable. Do you know, have you heard of an artist named Van Morrison?
I know the name.
He did a song called, you're probably familiar with the song, maybe even you're familiar with the song from the early 1970s or late 60s called Brown Eyed Girl.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Okay. Domino. Anyway, Van Morrison is known for either he'll be really, really good in concert or he'll be really, really bad. Or he just mails it in. And that's what you get with Sauce. You never know what you're going to get with Sauce on stage. It's either going to be like a combination of Dennis Miller, Jerry Stiller, and Phyllis Diller, or it's going to be a combination of Larry Moe and Curly Joe from the Three Stooges.
I always love
you
that
just don't know what you're going to get with Sauce.
Did he do the Home Alone on Blu-ray?
No, he didn't. He didn't do that bit, but he was really good. Larry Mandela Guy was Larry Mandela Guy, he MCs and opens. He's supposed to do like 15 to 18. He's doing a half hour, 30. Well, the crowd, again, you get addicted to the laughter and the applause, right? It is addicting when you've got them in the palm of your hand when it's like putty and they're hanging on every word. And, I'm sort of a combination of Dave Chappelle, Howie Mandel, and Dave Attell, and people just really seem to enjoy the show. So we thank there was only a couple more shows to go before we end the comedy season. A week from this Friday, we're going to be at Styx, which is the tavern, the bar that's at Dull Green Golf Course. So we're going to be there.
Do you think Larry Mandela Guy could cut his set a little shorter if he just put away the scuba gear and didn't have that whole setup the whole time?
You've got him confused with Monday Night Football guy. That's brilliant. Thank you. No, it's really brilliant. You're starting to figure this show out, aren't you? Takes him a long time to get into that scuba gear, too. So, before we talk about Nico Medved, do you know who I'm starting to actually feel bad for? Is Danny Hurley, the head coach of UConn. He won back-to-back national championships, right? He was going for a three-peat here. And I remember earlier in the season we talked about him because he was at the Aloha Classic or whatever, the Maui Wowie, whatever that tournament is at the preseason. And he felt he was getting jobbed by the officials. He was all bent out of shape. I'm watching the tournament. He's ranting and raving and running up and down the side, then running out into the court, really out of control. I mean, literally. And, a lot of these coaches get that way. But I'm thinking this guy, he popped a bolt, man. He needs to really kind of calm down. He can't. He was either screaming or sobbing on Sunday. Was that Saturday? Did he get eliminated on Saturday? I think it was. He was maybe it was yesterday. He was either screaming or sobbing. It was unbelievable. He can't stop himself from ranting and raving. The other coaches on his team have to, they have to restrain him from going out on the court. So he's running up and the dream died of the three-peat, right? So then in the post-game stuff, he's sobbing. My teammates, these kids, they mean so much to me. And that's all right. He's emotional, I guess. And it's all right and good. But what I also come to find out, between the screaming and the sobbing, have you seen the video of him when he's leaving the Who did they lose to? The games all run together for me. Who did they lose to yesterday?
You kind of believe Florida off the top of my head.
I've got my brackets here. By the way, one of my brackets is doing really, really well. Who did they lose to? Who are we talking about? UConn?
UConn, yeah, they lost to Florida.
Yeah, lost to Florida. Okay.
Yep.
So, as he's leaving, the tunnel that goes from the court to the locker room. Have you seen that video yet?
No.
Where he's talking to another coach of the next team that's going to play, and he goes, "Hope you don't get bleeped like we do. We got bleeped." So he again was blaming the officials for being outplayed and outcoached, because that's what they are. It's like golfers. They never hit a bad shot. It's bad equipment hits bad shots, or their putt. You ever see them? They all do this when they miss a putt. They start pointing at the green. It hits something. No, you just made a bad stroke. It didn't hit anything. They just can't admit that they're not always as good as they want to be. And that's what this Hurley guy does. And I'm sure he's a great coach, but I wouldn't touch that guy with a 10-foot pole. I don't want him. I think he really needs, and I hope he gets help if he needs it, because he seems to be really emotionally unstable. From screaming to sobbing and everywhere in between, the Danny Hurley story is what it is. Now, we've got a guy I think that's a bit more, I've not watched him enough as a coach. I didn't know, and I bet there's a lot of people out there that had never heard of Niko Medved either. I mean, I had not, and I may have heard the name sometime over the past couple of years because, I watch enough March Madness. Maybe last year I heard his name, but it certainly didn't register with me. But, as soon as Ben Johnson was relieved of his duties, as soon as the Big Ten, the Gophers were eliminated from the Big Ten tournament, Niko Medved's name and a couple of others came up right away, right? Roseville native, went to the University of Minnesota. I think he was actually the equipment manager here or something, his team manager, something like that. Went on. If you look at his bio, it's fairly impressive. Like a lot of these coaches, you start out at sort of like in the radio business where I started out in some smaller towns, some entry level positions. He's 51 years old. He's coached for 12 seasons, including 4 years at Furman in a 1-year stop at Drake. It says here he was team manager for the Gophers under Coach Clem Haskins. He started his coaching career as an assistant at the Division III level at McAllister before joining assistant positions at Furman, Minnesota, and Colorado State. He received an extension last year with a significant raise that paid him a $1.7 million salary this season, and option years that carried the deal through 2030, 2031. He went 143-85 with the Rams, the second best winning percentage in Colorado State program history. He is 222-173 in his 12-year career. Medved's buyout price from Colorado State is 33% of the remaining value on his deal, about $3.7 million. Ben Johnson, whose annual salary was $1.95 million, the lowest in the 18-team league, had a buyout of about $2.9 million. And then the story I'm reading from an Associated Press story. This is a Dave Campbell who covers. He works AP here. He's been in town forever. Does a great job. Covers all the sports: Vikings, Gophers, everything. This is an expensive transition for Coyle, whose desire to return the program to relevancy on the local sports scene and the rugged, expanded Big Ten will require a deeper financial commitment by the university, with revenue sharing coming to college sports. After firing Johnson, Coyle said, here was the quote, "There's no doubt we need somebody who embraces Minnesota. We need somebody who's going to generate excitement. At the end of the day, I'm a firm believer when you're winning games, people want to be a part of that." And, I'd wondered if Medved, how much interest that was really there, especially when your star is beginning to rise. I mean, he's an up-and-coming coach. Furman, Drake, done a nice job at CSU. We talked about how unless I've confused my college programs, I don't think CSU they hadn't been to a Sweet 16 since 1969, and that was before they even had 64 teams. And you think all of a sudden he becomes a hot commodity, right? Then all of a sudden there's not just like, I think, is the West Virginia job available? I think that's available as well. And so that's, that's not Duke or North Carolina, but it's still an attractive job. And who knows how many more will become available between now and the end of the season. But, returning home is big for people. And, I've talked to a number of people in the basketball community who will say, well, Minnesota's a more attractive job than Colorado State. And I understand why that would be. When you're looking at it from afar, it's a Big Ten school. I mean, right there, it was one of the... Are there 5 power conferences? Is that what they call them? Is there even a Pac-10 anymore? Or is that just totally blown up? That's blown up, right?
Dead.
That's just dead. There's nothing there.
It's more like a Power 4 these days.
Yeah, it really is like a Power 4, right? So,
and also Minneapolis compared to Fort Collins, just bigger market. You're in the Power 4, whatever it is, Big Ten. I get it.
You were just getting ripped, by the way. Yeah. I was sticking up for you.
Were you listening?
Well, I was sticking up for you, and then Blakemore was just ripping you.
Why?
No. I was talking about how you're like the Van Morrison of comedy.
Wow.
So Van the Man, live concerts, he's either brilliant or brutal, right? People say...
It's not the in-between.
Right, there's no in-between. He's either... He brings everybody to tears almost with his brilliant performance, or he has his back to the audience for 45 minutes and he mails it in.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, you're either brilliant or brutal, and you were simply brilliant at Bogarts.
Oh, thank you.
You were so good.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I just... you could hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
When you were out there doing your thing.
When you came out to look at me, was that your version of red lighting me?
No, it was when you basically you cheap shotted me and said the only way you can get Louis to go to sleep is to play the first segment of the Common Man program to him.
And he falls asleep before you start talking.
Yeah, think about it. So that's why you thought I was calling you a red light. There was no reason to red light you. You were really good.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd it go? I left.
Oh, putty.
Yeah,
it was
correct.
So good. Yeah. I literally will say this. I thought it was the best performance of my 15-year comedy career.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I actually did forget a couple of bits I wanted to squeeze. They love the one when I say, Meatsauce mentioned he lost 75 pounds in 75 days.
Ever.
I could have saved him a lot of time and effort by just buying him a guillotine.
Genius. That brings the house down.
They love that one.
Yeah, that's your 10 Commandments, George Carlin
Right.
bit.
You know what the other one they like is when I say, I don't know if any of you knew this, but Sauce was ill for a while. He had a brain-eating amoeba. The amoeba starved to death.
Genius.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I got that out of He's So Dumb joke.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, did you see, though, there's an all-points bulletin out?
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, I had to hightail it home.
Yeah, well, you changed the plates
I had to get out of there,
Because
stealing.
There's wanted posters everywhere for grand theft.
Yeah.
And for racketeering.
Yeah, I love how people are like, when they bought our T-shirts, they said, is it really over? And I go, no, this is part 3. We'll make a part 4, 5, and 6. Yeah.
We're running a racket.
Of course it's a racket.
Did you watch any basketball over the weekend?
I watched a lot of it. Yeah, it's boring.
Yeah.
It's really boring.
Well, there's been a couple of good games.
Well, the Florida-UConn game was great. The Maryland-Colorado State game was great. Right. Now with the new Gopher head coach, that was great.
Do you know Rosen has had his eye on Medved for a long time?
I did not. No way. Really?
Yeah. Well, that's what he'll claim.
Yeah. Was he here today?
No, because he said that about who's the guy for the Wolves again?
Jalen Clark.
Yeah. He goes, I've had my eye on him for a long time. He'd played 9 minutes for the Wolves up until that breakout performance. And Rosie never stays up late enough to watch a UCLA game out on the coast. But he claims he's been watching him forever.
Come on.
That's what he did. That's what he went with.
He's been watching Jalen
I had
Clark.
my eye on him for a long, long time.
Basically an undrafted. That would be like me saying I've been watching a lot of these guys that are going to be undrafted or 7th-round picks in the NFL draft.
It's the exact same. Well, not only that, then he came in yesterday. He said, I'm really excited. A guy, again, he went with that. I've had my eye on Rondale. What was the guy's last name again?
Moore.
I've had my eye on Rondale Moore for a long, long time, and I'm really excited that he's going to be part of the team.
The only reason he knows who he is because he probably torched the Gophers a few years ago.
Yeah, that could have very well been it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what Rosen went with. So it's always good to.
Is it a mail it in Monday?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I was going to wet blanket it to start it. I was going to, until the Medved news broke, I would have said, folks, he's never coming here. He's going to have so many offers.
Yeah.
He's going to go somewhere else.
Well, especially if they won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how about that? See, the Queen guy, the Derek Queen traveled. Right?
Traveled. 100% traveled.
I mean, and here's what people will say, and tell me what you think about this theory. And I tend to agree with it a little bit. People will say, or I don't know if I agree with it, but I get the concept, is that you don't want the referees to decide the game late in the game. You don't want a call to decide the game. But by not making the calls, the referees are deciding the game because, you're not supposed to call a foul or call a holding penalty on the last 1 or 2 plays of the game, right?
No.
But if there is a penalty, there's a penalty. You have to call it because, and that was, that was a blatant travel.
Yes.
And why it wasn't called, I don't know, but it was a great finish to the game.
It was a cool finish, yeah. The rest of them have been kind of boring.
Yeah, other than the game you mentioned, 1 or 2 others that have been pretty good as well. What else you got? Who are the Vikings going to get for a backup quarterback? Do you have any idea?
I think it's going to be Ryan Tannehill.
You think so?
That's my guess.
What is it? What is that? Does that do anything for you?
I mean, I think we laid it out this morning. Lieber said it about a week and a half ago that Ryan Tannehill poses no threat. He didn't play last year, and they're doing J.J. McCarthy's agent a favor. They have the same agent, so they're doing him a favor. If Ryan Tannehill starts, it's like, Aruga everybody off the boat.
Right. Well, that's, and I said that to Brett Blakemore closing out the last segment, that is there a team in the league that has a backup quarterback you'd go, let's go?
No.
Nobody, right?
Nobody,
They just don't. I mean, it's hard to find 32 guys that can start, that give you confidence. Right. There's 6 really good quarterbacks. Mahomes, Allen, the names, Lamar Jackson, handful of others. Burrow, and after that, then there's that next group, which is 5 or 6 guys. And after that, it's
over.
It's over.
Yeah.
It's over. So it really doesn't matter. Would you have been, were you pro sign Rodgers, or no, were you against it?
I mean, in this business is an entertainment business. It would have been great.
Yeah, correct. That's what we were saying.
It would have been great.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's probably for the better, 3 weeks in and they're not winning, and all of a sudden he goes on McAfee and is like, Kevin O'Connell doesn't know what he's doing. And then,
right.
I mean, the Jets are basically paying him a ton of money to not be on the team.
Right.
Why would we want him? But for the entertainment factor, it would have been great.
It would have been really good.
Come September, it would have been like, all right, he doesn't really have it anymore, and we may have. I think McCarthy will be good. I don't know, though.
Well, that's the thing. What if, I love doing the what ifs. We all do.
Yeah.
What if Rodgers catches on with somebody and they're brilliant? He's really good.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, he's really good because they finished the season
5 lose. I think they lost 5 or 6 straight.
They lost the last 4 regular season games in the playoff games. But those 4 games they lost were Kansas City, Buffalo, Cincinnati, and Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I think they were all playoff. It wasn't like they were losing to the dregs of the league.
No, they weren't. Yeah.
And Tomlin is a good coach. That's a good team. That would be a nice place to land. If he lands there and then McCarthy's, mediocre, I don't think there's any chance he's going to be awful.
No, I don't think, no.
You don't play at that level at high school and college, and you're not a pretty good quarterback. I mean, we've seen it, though. We've seen guys that are highly regarded, and they get drafted, and they're terrible. But
it happens.
Yeah. It's, what else you got?
That's all I got.
You got ripped, by the way.
What?
Well, you got nominated for preposterous statement. Already today by saying...
I've just been here 5 minutes.
Yeah, but you said, is it a mail-in Monday?
Of course it is.
Yeah. Right. Good to see you.
Well, that's all I got. I came here for one reason.
Yeah, I know, and I got it here for you. Hold on. I was surprised you left without getting paid. It ain't a lot of money either. It's not very much, but it's better than nothing. Yeah. You're the best. See it.
Did you play golf today?
No.
You going to play tomorrow?
Thursday. There's too much frost in the morning. I'm going to play probably go over to Oak Marsh. I played 27 yesterday, and I walked at Oak Marsh. I walked all 27 holes. It's a 6,200-yard golf course, okay? And I didn't play it at 62. I moved up on a couple of tees because it's so cold, and I'm an old man. I can't hit it very far. But if, walking, you're still going from the back tee to the next tee and such like that. So it's 6,200 yards. I played 27 holes, and then there's some long walks between holes. I figured I walked about 6 miles. It's incredible. 6 miles.
Good for you.
Because there's 1,760 yards in a mile.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I got.
Yeah, good
talk.
Yeah. He could tell he had no interest in being on the air with me. You could just tell. He didn't even like working with me in comedy. It's just that.
He just did it for the check.
Yeah. He just does it for the check. Man. He doesn't do it for any kind of camaraderie between the two of us. But
not me.
No. The legendary Meatsauce. We're glad he's here. What was I going to say? Oh, it was MedVed. Yeah, we were talking about MedVed. So, all in all, here's the other thing with this. There are the Gopher faithful and the Duckies and Bunnies of the world. That guy's great hire. Look at how, he's one of us. Look what he's done at Colorado State. And that's all true. Didn't Tubby Smith win a national championship? And what good did that do us? Do you see what I'm trying to say? And I know, I'm doing a little wet blanket here. You got to have a guy that's going to try to pump the brakes a little bit. Glass half full, glass half empty. If you decided you needed to go in another direction, you can't do another. And this is not a criticism of Ben Johnson. This is not. But you can't do another Ben Johnson hire, somebody that hasn't had no coaching experience, but was like same with Lindsay Whalen. They hired Lindsay Whalen on a name recognition. I don't think she had any head coaching experience, if any coaching experience at all. You thought the name would generate local Minnesota talent to stay, and maybe it did in some cases. I don't recall, but that didn't work out very well. She was sort of, I think, forced to resign. And then Ben Johnson didn't have a lot going for him here, and we have no nil money. And did you see the Pharrell Payne kid? He was just dominant in those 2 games. Well, not dominant, but he was brilliant in those 2 games for Texas A&M. And he's getting paid old money, right? Because Texas A&M, trust me, I think I thought it was $500,000 he got from Neil. I think I was told by somebody else, somebody I trust, that he got $650,000 large from Neil. So why wouldn't you go? I can't blame a kid. Payne was from here. He played at Cottage Grove. I watched him play 3 years, high school basketball.
You had your eye on him for a long time.
Yeah, I had my eye on Pharrell Payne for a long, long time. And he was really good in those 2 NCAA games. He was even doing the flexing thing. I just love when they flex, like that. The best part's when they flex all game and then they end up losing. I say, well, that flexing didn't get you anywhere, did it, son? But I was actually kind of surprised that the MedVed thing happened so quickly. I know the Gophers because Coyle had said, I'm going to respect any coaching candidates that we might be interested in if they're still playing in the tournament. So that, I would assume that would mean if MedVed had won yesterday, if CSU, we wouldn't be talking to them and we wouldn't have hired them. I'm not even so, and again, I'm not completely convinced that there wasn't some contact there. Or maybe you don't need to. You just have to publicly say, a lot of guys out there we really like. We know who they are, and then the message gets across, right? So anyway, there he is. Nico Medved, the next, looks like he's going to be the next head coach of the Minnesota Golden Gopher men's basketball team. When we return, a little 5-3-4.
5-3-4. We'll get an update on the revolving door of wild injuries.
Very good.